Hey guys, my name is Noah Flater. I've been in the industry for over 10 years now. I started at 18 years old. And if most of you guys don't know, my main skill set is I'm a martial artist. So everything we do really focuses on being on screen on camera. Now, I really think that foundation is so important to who I am because of the discipline and the work ethic that I have. So I was taught something very basic and very simple that's gonna transition into on-set etiquette for you guys, is when you're late at the karate school, 25 push-ups. That is the basic standard thing that you always have to do. And because of that, I always hate being late. And I'll always test myself. I'm like, okay, if I have to do 25, everybody else has to do 25 push-ups, I'm gonna do 50. That's how my mind started to go. And when I was training with Simon Rhee at his studio, I was only ever late one time. It was because I got into a car accident. I got rear-ended. And I still knocked out the push-ups, still showed up to class and did everything I was supposed to do. But that work ethic and that mindset translates to set. Now, being an actor or performer, I feel like the standard is really low, unfortunately. And I just talk about being on time, okay? Being prepped, having your lines memorized the night before, showing up on time, making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. That is the bare minimum to me. And I don't think a lot of people do that in the industry. I can't tell you how many times people have showed up, maybe they were partying too late the night before, maybe they showed up a half hour late, or more commonly, they show up and don't have their lines memorized, okay? Those are all very basic things that in the martial arts, you have to warm up before you start kicking. You have to prep. There's always a prep game. If you're late, you're in trouble. And there's also this underlining respect factor that you learn in the martial arts that you should take on set with everybody else in front of you. And unfortunately, in the film industry, more common than so, there are a lot of performers that don't really treat the crew with a lot of respect that I've seen. And I think that's really unfortunate. So I think, especially when fans find out that the person's really down to earth, they're just a decent human being, that should always be the underlining factor. That's crazy to me, that's even a thing. So I think for you guys going forward into the industry, on-set etiquette, be on time, have your lines prepped and memorized. Make sure that you have an underlining respect for the crew. And one more thing before I keep moving on, that I was taught in the beginning of my career is that no matter who you are, how big you are, always try to remember everybody's name. And small little gestures on set go so far. Now remember, there's an entire crew, whether it's 10 people or 100 people, that are dedicated to making the story come alive. And that probably involves you looking good, right? So you kind of want them to do a good job to help you do a good job. So one of the things that I used to do is that I would work on Warner Brothers, Universal Studio lots, whatever studio lot it was. And I always made sure everybody ate before me. If they come in line, I made sure that they ate before me. That little gesture goes so far. Learning how to say thank you or please, those basic little things, remembering their name goes so far. So that's something I want you guys to try and practice. You go on to even a smaller set, just let them eat before you, let them go in front of you. That says so much to your character, and I think it really is gonna help them want to do a better job working with you. So there's a saying in the martial arts, black belt skill, white belt mentality. Black belt skill, I want you guys to show up on set everywhere you go in life. You want to be the best version of yourself possible. But white belt mentality, all that really means is that you know how to empty your cup. You know how to humble yourself. You know how to not have an ego. You want to actually learn. That there's so many different ways of learning. And I think as a performer, for me, I don't want to just be an actor. Like I said, this is a team effort. I like being a filmmaker. I was probably one of the very few performers that would show up on set. I'm paying attention to how they're lighting the set. I'm paying attention to the way that the DP is working with the rest of the crew, and especially the director. I'm gonna get into the director relationship with an actor in a little bit. That's really important. So as an actor, something that's so important, and it's not just in acting, it's really in life, is learning to listen. In the martial arts, the way I correlate that is that when you're sparring an opponent, you're fighting somebody, you're learning to have a conversation with somebody. How can you have a conversation if you don't know how to listen to them? The way they move, their energy that they give you, their intention, Everything is so important in the martial arts. And then it gets even into a crazier conversation of why martial arts to me is the art form of life. Because life is generated by emotions. That also translates into your acting, into not just acting, but your relationship with the crew, with your cast member, all of those things. So taking the time to listen to your scene partner, listen to what they need, or as well, you need to reciprocate that. You need to give them what you need as well too. It's always back and forth relationships, right? So that's a really, really important skill set as a performer, is learning how to listen on and off set constantly, keeping that empty cup and practicing to have black belt skill all the time. So like I've kind of said, I have quite a decent amount of experience being on set of big productions, TV shows and big feature films, and of course our indie stuff, and that's really where I thrive. But every director works very differently. And I'm gonna just share my perception and how I function. Your best friend should really be the director on set. To me, that is my boss. They understand the bigger picture, and I'm playing one character or one role, unless you wrote it, whatever it is. But most of the time, you're just playing that one character. And there are bigger things that are happening that you may not understand. So my mindset is I hit my scene, I know I nailed my mark. The first thing I always go and do is I go to the director and ask him notes. Just the fact that I even do that, I think throws off a lot of directors. They're like, wow, this person, one, actually cares. And it's something that I never really saw from other actors. They just do their scene and then they go back to doing whatever they want. But I actually care about my growth. I actually want to be the goddamn best. There's nothing like on-set constructive criticism from the person that is looking through the lens, watching the scene, and knows you're acting, right? So the director is kind of like the sensei of the set. And that's my mentality in the dojo as well. As soon as I do my forms, as soon as class ends, first thing I do, I go to Mastery, notes. What do I need to improve on? That is how my mind is always working. How do I improve? I'm not looking for validation. That's another big thing. I think a lot of artists, not just actors, everybody has that insecurity and they're looking for validation. If you have that, that's something you need to work on before you even come on set. Don't even show up on set. Do not show up looking for validation from other artists. This is about self-growth. This is about becoming the best version of you. Work with the director, have that empty cup, ask for notes constantly. And I promise you guys are gonna kill it on set. So I'm excited to see your guys' growth. Thank you guys for subscribing to our channel. Comment below what other kind of videos you guys want, and os.